good evening, or as us Filipinos like to say, magandang gabi to all our Southeast Asian viewers. Of course, once again, this is going to be Game 5, the final game, match point for the Garena Premier League 2017 Summer Season Knockout Stage. Of course, I'm talking about the game between Ascension Gaming of Thailand versus Young Generation of Vietnam. Before anything else, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves, I guess.
Arctic
yeah. Audio Service. And of course, with me is Atlas. And wow, what is on the line here, Atlas?
Yeah, definitely, because what's on the line here is honor for your home country, for your region, and that is going to the World Championships, because here the best chance of getting to Worlds is actually by winning all these games naturally, and that's definitely scary for both of these teams, because we saw such a huge boost in momentum from YG, only for that to falter in Game 4. This is the last game, and neither of these teams can afford any sort of misplay.
Indeed, and of course, whoever does win this will eventually proceed to take on the Gigabyte Marines tomorrow for that first seed into Worlds. Like you mentioned, this is the easy ticket to go 2 straight match wins to getting that first seed.
Yeah,
but of
definitely.
course, for the loser tomorrow of this match, they'll have to go up against Team Manila Eagles, wherein a lot is on the line, because not only are they fighting for their spot to potentially vie for the second seed, but also they want to not end their journey here in the GPL right now as we head into the drafting phase once again between YG versus Ascension Gaming. Let's go.
Let's see here. It seems like the actually bans don't actually change. Like, from the previous games, these are very, very similar bans. Even the Renekton now has been banned out against Ascension, while YG prioritizing that Jarvan so quickly. Jarvan has boosted in popularity for like so much for the past few patches, and for Ascension is going to be the Sejuani. And the Xayah actually going to be picked up here by Lloyd. Let's see how YG respond to this, because that is a very powerful opening from Ascension's hand.
Yeah, I mean, after what we've seen earlier as to how Lloyd actually performed in Xayah, I'm really looking forward to this once again. Actually, both these champions, not to mention, were actually on Ascension side earlier, so looks like that was left open for them once again for their taking. Young Generation, however, after being banned out, after a lot of supports being banned out, actually limiting Palettes pool, looks like they will be securing the thresh for this
I like
first
this
rotation.
adaptation from YG. Now they are putting Palettes pick on the very first rotation, because the reason why that YG had a very hard time in the previous game is one reason why Big Koro didn't really pop off the way he usually would is because Palettes support pool got narrowed down, and having to use a Zyra, an obsolete pick, I would say it's obsolete in this meta. It's quite jarring, and so here they don't want to take any risks and just go straight for a very balanced, well-rounded support, very consistent, the Thresh.
Indeed, I agree with you right there. Syndra going to be locked in as well for Young Generation for now. So we'll just have to see how that dynamic works. And whoa, Echo actually going to be the next pick here for Ascension Gaming.
Could go mid lane.
Indeed.
And seems like Ascension bans out the Varus now. They're still targeting the bot lane here. Definitely seeing Big Koro and Palette as one of the biggest threats on YG. Young Generation's bot lane definitely worthy of respect. We'll see how YG responds to this with their own ban. So the options here are either top lane or jungle. And the support role, Tahm Kench banned out against Warlock. That's a lot of safety taken away from Ascension, because Warlock does play the Tahm Kench. And imagine the safety of Lloyd and G4, Echo and Xayah, with the safety, the security of the Tahm Kench. So here they don't want to deal with that, throwing it out a window. Now the Kog'Maw is banned against YG, so they can still go for the Tristana if they wish to as their hyper carry. That is a possibility.
So actually good on
Braum.
Ascension Gaming, banning out 2
I like it.
selections.
I like banning out the Braum against the Ascension team with already a Sejuani. So by banning out the Braum, that's a lot of synergy already taken away from the team here, with especially Glacial Frost plus Glacial Fissure being such a good initiation tool, counter initiation tool into Glacial Prison. And the natural synergy between Concussive Blows and Permafrost is so good. But seems like Alistar, they'll still be able to pick up that alternative, which can be quite potent in the laning phase and in the team fights.
Indeed, I do recall Warlock being quite inefficient. Oh,
Wait,
sorry,
whoa.
wow, yes, oh yes.
Draven pulling out the big cards here.
Indeed.
Pulling out an ace up their sleeve, it seems. Big Koro very confident going in this game with a Draven. We'll see what their jungle or top pick is, and it seems like the Gnar will be their pickup, with Venus picking up that Jarvan the 4th.
Looks like
Wow,
both
Draven.
sides pulling out interesting pocket picks in the form of both the Echo as well as the Draven here.
So that is going to be the at least locked in for a lot of early game pressure, which this Draven will really appreciate.
Indeed.
We'll see what Ascension picks up last for their top lane.
Interesting. What
A lot of choices here. Kled. I like seeing it, the Kled here.
Yes.
And there's a lot of survivability, so much, because a little bit of invulnerability, that split second when you get dismounted from Skarl.
And not to mention, that's going to be a lot to take into consideration of right now, because Ascension virtually has two champions that you can't really take down right away in the form of both the Kled and the Echo. So again, with the Syndra especially, it's not going to be an easy takedown on both these top end.
I really like these picks coming from Ascension. So many ways to turn Naul into a useless pile of junk after he uses his ultimate. Just dodge it out, either with Chrono Break, Featherstorm, or being dismounted by Kled to dodge out the last bit of damage. So this is actually really good tech picks against that Syndra, but I'm really interested in the Draven here and how it's going to fare, especially with such a solid line of CC here, coming from the Sejuani, coming from the Alistar. That Draven will have to position himself perfectly to survive that lane.
I think at the end of the day, going into this Game 5 here, a lot of emphasis, I feel, will be put on the rotation of these junglers right there in order to get this Draven going, in order to make sure that Ascension Gaming has a very sound laning phase.
That's true.
Both these Elise and the Sejuani need to step it up. So we'll just have to see whether or not how much of an impact that actually has if ever one of these junglers actually underperform in such a very crucial
Neither
game.
of these junglers can underperform.
Deep.
I am of the belief that the jungler is the most important member of the team when it comes to setting your win conditions and getting to your win conditions. If your jungler underperforms, then it's just completely out of the window. We saw this in match 1, TME versus Gigabyte Marines. Coops was constantly being either denied or dictated on where he would go, and that actually put TME at such a disadvantage. If this happens to either jungler of these two teams, it's going to be disastrous.
So, of course, ladies and gents, we'll just have to see history being made right here as we'll determine who will Gigabyte Marines will be going up against. But, of course, we'll just have to hold all of that as we head into the game. On to Summoner's Rift we go once again. A 2-2. We're going to be breaking this between Young Generation versus Ascension Gaming. Let us go.
The final game we have for today, YG and Ascension. Their best chance at going to Worlds is winning this game.
Indeed. So there we go. Both sides actually gonna play it a little bit more safer. No tricky invades. Again, this is a lot on the line here, and even the smallest mistake could really cost either side here. So looks like both sides will just be playing a little bit more easier.
Let's see where the junglers are actually starting. Venus naturally starting around the blue side. Nooney as well will be starting on blue side. So it seems like just the usual starts for these two champions. Or actually, no, Venus will actually go for the red buff. They want to pay some attention around mid lane and top lane for this one.
Indeed. So there we go, a little bit of trade-off happening. No, getting a little bit of harass onto G4 right there, taking full advantage of the range while he can during the level 1.
And it seems like the trade isn't too much in his favor. The minions, the range minion that Naul took aggro from actually pretty substantial, but here's the G4 cannot commit too much to CS, but he is so far doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, fairly even if you're gonna look at it. 4 creeps and 4 creeps as well for both sides, so just as one creep actually.
Warlock and Lloyd, until they're level 2, they can't really fight. Oh man, that is a lot of damage from Naul.
Very careful, Naul continuing it. Will it be enough though? But no, looks like that potion will be the safety that G4 needs to regenerate.
But this is so bad. Being pushed out of lane at level 1 means that once you return, your opponent is level 3.
Indeed, of course, looks like G4 will have to use his
Oh, never
teleport
mind, yes,
as a
teleport.
result to get back into lane. But regardless, that is a summoner spell down, so that is less pressure in a way that Ascension Gaming could have exerted within these first few minutes of the game.
And at that point, I really like how Naul saved his flash there. He could have tried the flash in an attempt to close out the kill, but that would leave him so open to Nuni.
Yes, good restraint there, especially since now has all the potential to just really continue to harass onto G4. So no need to really force it into something that may eventually hurt you in the later parts of the game with that flash down.
Both junglers did find each other around the Raptor camp of the red team, so they will know approximately where they're going. Nuni around bot side, while Venus gravitates towards his own Gromp camp. I bet after this, he will either go for a recall or go for a complete clear of his Raptors into his Krugs.
So looks like a big push happening. Big Koro forcing both Lloyd and Warlock to farm under lane, but looks
Here
like
comes
Nuni.
They don't know he's there.
Joining the fray, though. This might be tricky indeed. It's actually Pallet that's forced to flash away. This might be the first casualty here. Big Koro trying to do what he can, but ultimately the support of Young Generation goes down as Ascension Gaming gets first blow.
Yeah, once again, Ascension ganking the bot lane with gusto. And it seems like it pays off. Last time it was Lloyd getting the first blood on his Xayah, but now it is going to be Nuni, so not as much domination and snowball potential, but here the experience that he gains from that might actually be substantial. We'll see if Venus can actually get some revenge in the top side. It's more dangerous to dive the Kled because of how much survivability he has.
Indeed.
So I'm doubting that he will actually try and go for that dive.
Yeah, that's somewhat of a factor wherein that actually makes it harder in a way for Young Generation to execute any tower dives, especially with an Elise and a Jarvan particularly until such time. But looks like Cocoon unfortunately does not connect, does force a flash away for Jisoo.
This might actually give them a little bit momentum here in the top side. Pallet has not hit a death sentence as from what we've seen. And it seems like it's really faltering so far right now. Naul and G4 fighting it out.
Trades happening back and forth between these two mid laners, but looks like Naul might emerge the better person here as he just continues the pokes. And
that was
yes,
aggressive.
that is going to be a kill onto G4.
Yeah, that mana is actually really misleading. He actually had enough mana for at least an E. And since it's an instant cone instead of the Q, the Dark Spear that needs to rev up and has a small AoE, that was actually more sure for Naul, and it actually knocks back G4, so he can't get the revenge face dive.
Indeed, so there we go. Very equal ground once again for both sides, 1-for-1. But nonetheless, Jisoo actually losing out on Scar right now, not able to build up just yet.
Yeah, he has to recall from this one. He's actually pinging for help from Nuni, because he really does need it, especially the Doran Shield, not enough to resist the corruption of the potion that Ren has with him right now. And the initiative for that top lane priority, all in Ren's hands. 2.5 wave lead in terms of CS. Very well played so far by Ren.
This will force a teleport out of Jisoo in order to get back the lane, in order to not fall behind, of course. But nonetheless, while that is somewhat of pressure going down, G4's own teleport might be able to help relieve that, as it is almost near up 3/4 way.
Naul will have to continue pressuring G4 so that the teleport doesn't gain too much value. You want to make it so G4 makes a hard decision in order to teleport. You burst him down. You force him into his turret. That way, if G4 teleports, he will pay a huge price.
I love the itemization coming here for GC. 3 long swords, actually. So that's actually... Sure, you're not really leaning towards building anything, but it does grant you a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, it should give you at least the Caulfield's Warhammer if he's going lethality, but I doubt it.
Indeed, but ooh, I hear the charge coming in from Jisoo. Actually goes for the mid lane and ultimately gets the kill onto Naul. And here we go, bot side as well, gonna be getting quite the fight. Warlock goes down. Koro continuing the chase here.
Oh, he actually takes away the kill.
Indeed, though.
Minions. But it is going to be Pallet and Big Koro still not out of danger here, as it seems like the jungler and mid lane are making their way downtown.
Yes.
Oh man, they overstay their welcome.
Indeed, Big Koro might be in trouble here, but no, great lantern
Very
save
good
there.
dark passage there. saves his life, definitely. But now still, the cost is Jisoo is still suffering in a top lane. Even with the kill, he hasn't spent the gold. And the kill is actually equalized by the CS that Ren has built up over Jisoo.
And this is going to be a little bit of a delay for Jisoo because it's going to take him quite a while to get back to lane, with both teleport down and charge down. So this will grant a little bit...
To be fair to the 3 longsword purchase, Kled would be the type of champion to be crazy enough to buy 3 swords.
Touche.
Venus trying to look for something. Can't go for Jisoo at this point. He does not have courage to get Skarl back just yet, I believe. But he can actually still steal resources away from Nooney. Any resource stolen away from Nooney is a victory for YG, because that really cuts down on the power, because he has a level lead right now because from all the kills, the 2 kills rather, that he participated in.
It looks like Young Generation.
A little bit more chill, a little more even, unlike the last 4 games where the lead was like concretely established around this time.
Indeed, true indeed. So nonetheless, I'd say so far a lot of proactivity coming in from Ascension Gaming here, while Young Generation, they're just kind of waiting for the scaling to happen, especially for a big core.
They are quite proactive in the vision game, however. Look at those wards that will scout out where Nooney enters and exits his jungle. Around the Raptors and behind the red buff, that's actually a seldom checked bush. So that will actually last a pretty long time. It will check when Jisoo gets into lane, and when Nooney enters his jungle from that side. And when he clears his Krugs, rather.
Quite apt that Game 5, gonna be kicking it off with an Infernal Drake, so that's definitely a juicy, juicy dragon that either side would heavily benefit from.
Nooney trying to look for something against Venus. Might go for an invade. Finds that the Raptors have been taken. Look at that. Seems like both of these mid laners really itching to roam. Seems like G4 now pushing hard against the wave, but Nooney, or rather Naul, is the one who is resisting at this point.
See right here, Naul gonna be farming under turret, so definitely a bit of a pace that has slowed down. But then again, this is what you'd expect with both these compositions. We're almost looking at a calm before the storm here in a way, wherein once these full-on clashes happen, that's where we'll have something a lot more definitive.
Jisoo bought the 3 longswords for the raw AD, as well as to build it eventually into the Tiamat, as well as the Joram's Fist, which will allow him to build it into a Titanic Hydra to match the wave clear that's come from Ren. Very, very good build path, I guess.
I like the direction of going instantly for the Tiamat in the sense that, again, it allows him to heavily push his lane much more faster so that he has a lot more roam potential in the event that a opportunity presents himself to charge potentially to the mid lane.
Yeah, he's incentivized to push Ren against his turret, and he cannot do that while Ren does have the Tiamat while he does not.
True, true indeed. So nonetheless, we'll just have to see, though. Looks like Jisoo kind of lingering.
Ooh, look at that. Jisoo is looking for something around mid lane. He might actually catch out Venus.
Interesting.
Who misses the bear trap.
That's definitely a miss right there, but Ren, for the meantime, will be going for the recall, so a little bit of a reset.
Venus still looking for something. This is quite good vision control around the topside river for Ascension. 2 control wards at opposite ends of the body of water. And yet, YG does not have a clue that the Infernal Drake is being taken by Ascension. And Infernal Drake, both of these teams would really, really want that. Venus right around the corner, but I think it might be too late. It might be an opportunity for them to take them down, but
here
that
comes
is
the
quite
teleport,
dangerous.
though, taking a lot of damage. Venus does go down. Jisoo actually continues the teleport, but in the wrong place.
Wrong pathing there, but Venus should have expected that at that point. And now Pallet might pay the price.
Juni and Warlock continuing to chase Jisoo as well. Big Koro gonna try to help defend the support here, but here comes the teleport coming in from Ren. That is gonna be the Cataclysm going in, but he might catch. But no, he actually...
Yeah, too late responses from YG at that point. Because of how fast Ascension can kill someone if they're out of position. And their Ascension demonstrates that kind of power. Right now, they still need to build... Ooh, Naul.
Very, very tricky. G4, though, does have his ultimate up, so
Naul cannot burn his ultimate too quickly, because if G4 recovers health that his ultimate already dealt, then that gives the kill back to G4. Jisoo still looking for something against Naul for this one.
See, there we go. This is what we've been talking about right here. Air trap actually does connect, and Jisoo will be going for the kill here. Doesn't even lose Scarl in the process.
Yeah, and even if he had lost Carl, no amount of damage from Naul would actually be enough to take Jisoo down while Scarl is alive.
This is just very textbook as to what you'd expect of a Kled. So, and the tricky part here is that because of how Young Generation has been a little bit more sloppy, on the sloppier side as far as their responses, this actually allows Ascension Gaming to utilize their composition to the T, especially with Jisoo on this Kled. So we're just going to have to see Young Generation has to be, in a way, they have to have their spidey senses tingling in a way where
Definitely, especially Venus.
Exactly. When they almost have to anticipate plays coming in from Ascension Gaming.
And the responses have to be on point, because the second you lose any moment of response against an Echo with a Xayah and Kled charging at you, you're dead meat.
There we go. Looks like Big Koro and Pallet, interesting enough, are playing a little bit more safer. But here we go. This is what we've been talking about once again. G4 getting the dive onto Naul. Things are not looking good for Young Generation's mid laner right now.
Definitely not, because that the Echo pick is actually so great past level 6 against the Syndra, because you can just dodge out completely her damage and the dive potential. Syndra is terribly weak to dives if they can dodge the Scatter the Weak so easily.
Venus, the tricky part right here is that you'd think that our lanes are suffering for Young Generation. Why not expect a lot more visibility in a way coming from their jungler? But the problem is Venus 0-2-1, not in a good position himself. But here we go. Ren actually manages to Cataclysm trap Jisoo in there. That is going to be the Cocoon connecting Bear Trap, connecting onto Venus as well. But I highly doubt Jisoo will be able to survive this and get
Oh, he actually kills
manages
Venus?
to kill because of the violent tendencies right in time. That fourth hit was beautiful.
And that actually signals Ascension to go for the bot lane play with a teleport from G4. Scares Big Koro and Pallet away. And now it is going to be the bot lane turret. First turret of the game, possibly going to Team Ascension Gaming.
Good target there coming in from Jisoo, I gotta say. And it actually makes very good sense because looking at the itemization that Venus has, not even a single indication of anything defensive, which does actually make for a very vulnerable release.
Yeah, and huge gold boost there for Lloyd taking first turret of the game. I think that is way better than any like a duration stack gold that Big Koro has obtained throughout the game. Just one, and it seems like Lloyd is getting the better deal here. G4, look at how aggressive he's playing against Lloyd. Naul, not a single shed of fear in his mind.
Man, oh man, the beauty of Ascension Gaming finally figuring out their footing after extremely awkward 2 games during game 2 and 3. Looks like they were able to build up the momentum that they lost during game 4. So interesting enough though, this is the risk that Young Generation took with this draft right here. They really need to wait until such time that Big Koro is that super heavy damage dealer, but until such time he doesn't reach the optimum items that he hasn't even completed the first item yet, not to mention, then this is going to be a struggle that Young Generation needs to fend off.
It seems like he's building into... this is very strange. He's actually building into a BF Sword item instead of Death's Dance, which I saw very popular in a lot of Dravens recently. It seems now he's just going for direct damage instead of survivability. This could be a very nice dive.
Go for a play here. Cataclysm onto Lloyd. I don't think Lloyd will be able to survive this. Big Koro ultimately getting
500
the kill.
gold.
But this is going to be the juggle of turret damage here. Looks like all 3 members will
very
be able
well
to
played.
Survive. But in exchange, the blue turret is taking down towards bot side. Here comes the teleport coming in from Ren here, but
G4.
looks like it might not even be needed. The G4 looks like will be needed eventually in order to take down Ren. Jisoo continues the chase here. Will be able to get it though. All he needs is that one bear trap in order to make it.
Naul, however.
Ultimately, yes, that is going to be Naul within the vicinity, along with Venus as well. Jisoo looks like won't be able to continue the pursuit, but Uni does join the party.
That's actually pretty worth it for YG, getting shut down getting a duration stacks off. That is huge for Big Koro, and now he finishes 2 of his big items at once. Static Shift, Infinity Edge, completed for this Draven.
Indeed, that's going to be very painful. Let's go to
Look at that. Look at how this is actually very good juggling of the aggro, but I'm pretty sure it would have been better if the Alistar, if Warlock actually pushed away someone who was engaging onto his AD carry instead of the Draven.
True.
It would have had much more value to knock up both Ren and the support there, rather than just go for the AD carry directly with his CC. But in the end, it's quite worth it for YG. But Ascension gets a second Infernal Drake. That is fiery. That is spicy. Venus tries to make something happen here with the Rift Herald. Having fun there. All those arthropods in that top lane doing some work. This could be very good for YG if they use it effectively. This is essentially at least a turret, or at least 75% of a turret.
This is absolutely crazy. Game 5 really proving to be the game that determines it all, and just extremely high stakes. And by high stakes, I'm talking about looking at the next Drake. Infernal once again. If Ascension Gaming manages to take that third Drake, then the damage output, I'd be quite scared for Young Generation.
Definitely. High stakes indeed. And by high stakes, I mean medium rare UP stakes. And definitely, the team that wins this would warrant some kind of celebration with stake. But, man, both teams getting the run for the money. Big Koro jumps into not the stun, but does get a very slick escape with a Dark Passage.
Beautiful indeed, but then again, we're just going to have to see how this transitions for Ascension Gaming. Again, 2 Infernal Drakes, definitely a great... Because this is the tricky part right here. Young Generation, as is, has a lot to deal with in the form of a bit of immortality-ish coming in from the Kled and
I really appreciated the boost in AD and AP. Plus, like, the sheer damage from Big Koro will appreciate 2 Infernal Drakes, and this is a 500 gold lead for Ascension is now turned into what is essentially a 2,000 gold lead for Ascension because of the stats they gained from the Infernal Drake. Wow, very nice timing with a Rift Herald there to just disengage from the turret.
Not to mention Lloyd himself taking a lot of damage from Big Koro right there, actually almost falling. But regardless,
they have to be careful of Jisoo, since he will inevitably be charging from behind. If the AD carry here gets caught without any repercussions, it's gonna be crazy for Ascension. But seems like too dangerous for Jisoo to charge in there.
True indeed.
Very nice. 2 turrets gained by using the Rift Herald. Lots of value for YG.
And in the long run, looking at this now, Big Koro pretty much in a better lead in comparison to Lloyd right now. Lloyd actually still looking to complete his second item for this game. So we'll just have to see how that actually affects it, because Big Koro dealing a lot of damage right now.
Definitely. And because he was able to get those shutdown gold, plus all that gold from Adoration.
Gutsy, gutsy.
This is gutsy, but they are doing it quite slowly without Lloyd. And they are within the attack range of YG. This could be disastrous for Ascension.
Actually connects. We will be seeing a fight.
Okay, that was anticlimactic.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, here we go. And no.
Yeah, because there was no Big Koro around. Would have been too dangerous to commit to that fight.
I mean, like, even Ascension Gaming, that was a very weird call for Barret.
Oh, the charge on the Big Koro.
The charge. Where are you going, my friend? Another anticlimactic.
Another anticlimactic moment. But for Big Koro, it was actually quite dangerous.
Yeah.
If that charge actually connected, then that would be a kill onto Jisoo, for Jisoo, and with no Big Koro for their main damage, that means easy Baron for Ascension. Here, they might be dancing around it now. Right now, G4 has the teleport. He can respond to this if they want to do it. They are starting it possibly as a bait, and they are pulling teleports from both Jisoo and G4, but they have to be careful. This could be a throw if they're not careful. They have to turn and fight.
Scary choke point right here. G4 actually going to go
Oh, wow. Lloyd gets taken down.
But Lloyd actually gets taken down right away by Ren here. Warlock trying to run away from this right now. But here comes Jisoo, quite full on health. Ren might have to be a little bit more careful. He does manage to flash away, but Warlock in exchange might have to become the primordial sacrifice as 2 members of Ascension Gaming are down.
Wow, I expected that to be so bad for Young Generation. but because they caught up Lloyd, it's like this. Jisoo teleported to the top side, and G4 was the one that teleported near to the front line. But because of that,
Cocoon.
Lloyd instantly gets taken down because he was lacking one frontliner. They can just immediately connect. If you're under attack from a pincer attack, the way to counter it is to charge through one side, and that was Lloyd's side, and they successfully take him out. That's most of Ascension's damage, actually a large chunk of their consistent damage taken down, and all they had to deal with was G4.
Yeah, it looks like Ren gonna try to fend off this bot lane wave from pushing here. That's actually a substantially low inner bot turret there. So again, that's something that they'll have to look out for. They don't want to open any windows of opportunity for Ascension Gaming here as is. Just as right when they started to establish a gold lead in favor of themselves.
Seems like so far an aggressive play against G4. He has a chrono break if he wants to try and make an escape.
Oh man, G4 actually
he takes out Venus.
Manages to take down Venus before becoming a casualty himself in this case.
But now they are going to be under attack once again from Jisoo. Seems like he's just clearing the wave right now, but the members of Ascension are gathering on the wrong side. It seems like they're gathering this as if they were on blue side, but here they're trying to cut off Ren, Pallet, and Naul. But at this point, they have to give it up. Valiant effort from Ascension, though.
Indeed, here we go, though. Ascension Gaming getting the push on here towards mid side, but looks like they may be transitioning
Another
into
Infernal Drake. They cannot afford to lose this.
Indeed.
I think they need to go for the Infernal Drake instead of the Baron, because it's such a big stack of AD and AP going to Ascension, but it seems like they are pulling that aggro from Infernal Drake by trying to do Baron.
Oh, I hear the
almost
charge
on Lloyd.
coming in from GC, though. Will he be able to catch anybody? No. Actually falling short of connecting onto Venus.
That's a huge miss.
That would have potentially been dangerous in a way because G4 still far away. Teleport is down for him as well. So it looks like Ascension will content themselves with getting a little bit of pressure
onto Infernal Drake. YG cannot afford to lose this one.
Man, that's going to be a huge boost of damage.
They don't have vision at all around this area because everyone was focused on the Baron. They are doing this. Infernal Drake is the squishiest Drake. Three Infernal Drakes onto Ascension, that's a ton of damage.
That's going to be that's going to be an absolute nightmare for a young generation. No amount of tank items in the world could fend off the onslaught that Ascension could potentially pull off. I could only imagine just how painful.
I fear for YG in the next team fight. This is a ton of bonus AP and AD onto G4, Jisoo, and Lloyd.
The tricky part here is that if they can't take down a high priority target in an instant during team fights, then that's where they may potentially ultimately falter in the damage game, because that's a huge boost of percentage coming in from the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, at this point, the 1,000 gold lead that YG has is nullified. Not only nullified, but at this point in the game, the 3 Infernal Drakes is worth around 2,000, a little more than 2,000 in terms of gold, if you put it on Lloyd, G4, and Jisoo.
And I think the interesting part here is that if you're going to notice, Lloyd was kind of lacking in the damage spectrum earlier, during the earlier phases of the minutes, but then again, because of this triple Infernal, it kind of negates that right now. Look
Plus,
at the
he's
damage.
on his way to building the Infinity Edge, so the next recall, if he has enough gold for that, it'll definitely be a lot of pain for the people within his range of feathers. Baron's still the apple of the eye of these players. They don't want to give it up.
I love how careful both sides are playing this right now. But then again, yeah, Baron, definitely one of those that they don't want to give up. G4 exerting a bit of pressure here towards the bottom side here.
Seems like they will have to pressure elsewhere on the map and rather than just the Baron. But this is actually perfect for Ascension since they have 2 teleports. Well, one of them is down right now, but he does have the charge. So if ever a fight happens, it's going to be Ascension with the lead in terms of the pressure across the map.
Indeed. So there we go. This is going to be the division right here. Ren will be contending to have to defend towards the bot side, but he is getting a substantial push as well to exert some level of pressure here. So, and actually teleport almost up for him, so this will be good if ever anything does happen towards the Baron side.
It seems like they know where G4 is. Ren recalling right now. We'll be seeing how they do their rotations. The dance for Baron is definitely something that they want to take the lead on.
So there we go. It's like it's interesting how both sides are playing this a little bit more safer in a sense.
Yeah, because this is the turning point. Whoever gets this Baron possibly gets 1 or 2 inhibitors. That is huge in trying to close out the game.
Tuxedo Nooney looks like we'll be going for a recall now. The vision is such key right now, but looks like a turret will be going down. G4 will be using the ult to just kind of get away from there, but that is yet another objective taken. Kind of balances out the number of turrets taken down by both sides here.
But Ascension still ahead in terms of gold value. The Infernal Drake, as I said, is around worth 1.8 to 2k gold. And right now, they really don't want to like throw the game at this point. But it seems like Ascension under Vision are doing Baron right now. Teleport is out for both G4, Jisoo, as well as Ren.
Looks like they will be
Naul's
turning
in trouble.
there to Naul, but Jisoo actually missed lines, but then again, it doesn't really matter as Naul does become the casualty here. Ascension Gaming, will they turn back to this Baron though, or are they going to seek other opportunities? Looks like indeed G4 actually going to be going on to Pallet here.
Zong is going to be blocked
by G4 here, but this is enough time for the rest of Ascension to respond, but still, Big Koro manages to get the kill.
4v4 now. Can't be too cocky.
Indeed, very dangerous. They did lose one of their well, actually, even for both sides kind of lose their primary damage dealers here, but it's just
enemy lines.
Big Koro, quite painful in this case. But here we go. Ren looking for something, does not connect onto Nooney. Will they be going for a Baron though? No, it's better to just establish kind of recovery. But oh, are they though?
Or they're making a bait possibly.
Potentially.
Actually, no. Seeing as they did kill the ward, it's time for Jisoo to step up. No charge, but they are all within the range of the pit.
Indeed, a little bit of a Baron dance happening here. Venus taking a bit of damage from this Baron, but looks like Big Koro gonna continue a little bit, kind of looking for the right opportunity here.
Rather, Naul is on his way. So this is a 4v5 straight up for YG.
Right here. A lot of damage. Big Koro manages to take down Lloyd. Jisoo might be the next casualty. Does manage to take down Big Koro, but these are a lot of casualties happening. Ren is now on a rampage. Nooney and Warlock trying to do what they can, but these are 2 tanks. What are 2 tanks against the damage dealers? But then again, looks like the chase does ensue here. Naul becomes the next casualty.
Oh dear, YG gets a short end of the stick for that fight, but thankfully for them, the remaining members of Ascension are not the ones that they would want if ever they want to do a Baron. 2 tanks and then AP carry. Not really the one you want to do Baron with, but this will give them access to the mid lane turret, putting them with a little bit more map control.
Indeed. So there we go. Interesting. That is yet another turret under Ascension Gaming spell. So patience is definitely key.
Now let's look at that. Yeah, Venus and Ren jumped in. Big Koro gets an important kill against Lloyd there. But wow, Jisoo was dealing so much damage there, consistent damage. And at this point, the CC and tankiness that Warlock and Nooney can put out are actually pretty important in finishing off Naul, because Naul was already at half health before that fight started, just from Baron.
12 for 15 right now.
Still so intense.
Getting some offensive
I'm at the edge of my seat right now.
So there we go. Again, I like the offensive vision coming in from Young Generation because it gives them better anticipation as to whether or not Ascension may be leaning to potentially establish their own form of vision towards Baron. So this would be potential for them to get pickups to anticipate such.
So they have to be really careful there, because I think the Infernal will try to go for Nooney there.
A little bit of tanky target there. Cataclysm didn't really hurt him whatsoever.
They have to respond to the bot lane push coming from Jisoo.
Oh yeah, definitely. And
which this might give YG the opportunity to actually do the Baron uncontested, but seems like Jisoo dancing around, constantly going in and out of the vision range of YG so that they're not sure. Should we go bot? Should we go to the Baron? It seems like right now Ren is the one taking charge of that bot lane. He does not have teleport just yet. It's going to be around 30 seconds before it goes active once again, 30 to 45.
Yes, Young Generation definitely has to be careful Right now, G4, is he going to push for something, though? Does not get the stun onto Venus. But nonetheless, this is a juggle, trying to await their opportunity to get a pick off or potentially pursue
No
Baron.
vision here for YG once the Scuttle Shrine expires.
Ooh, looks like they are going to try to go for the sneaky play here.
Venus?
Here comes Jisoo, going to go in. Does not connect onto anybody, though, but that does force Venus in a very awkward situation, taking so much damage. Does go down to G4.
That's terrible for YG. No chance for Venus to escape that.
And this
He should have expected that, because that happened to Naul at one point. They should always be grouped up together. But now there's no chance, almost no chance for a steal.
Are they going to go for this Baron, though? Still, they have to respect the damage. Coming in from Big Toro does come out as a fight, regardless of the numbers game in their favor.
This could be a big stun coming from Naul.
Very scary indeed. What is going to happen? Who will get it? Looks like Ascension Gaming will be securing it indeed. But here we go, Ren trying to get targets here, but that is going to be the shutdown as two members, or rather one, Ren particularly succumbs, with Ascension Gaming taking the Baron.
Baron and 2 kills. This pushes Ascension's lead to around 5,000 in gold value, including the 3 Infernal Drakes. And Big Koro, with all the damage in the world he has, if he doesn't have the front line and the numbers to back it up, he's just going to fall down. 6-2 and 3. Great lifesteal, but he needs to be able to do damage against everyone else in Ascension, and he needs Venus's stuns, Naul's survival damage, and Scatter the Weak AoE stun, and Ren's CC as well. He needs all of that to do his damage, while Ascension, Lloyd, he is quite behind in itemization by around 1 small item. But the Featherstorm and the Blade Caller give him so much self-sufficiency.
True indeed. Regardless, right now, let's just see how Ascension Gaming will make good use of this Baron here.
All Drakes so far would be in Ascension's favor if they finish that, but for now, it seems like, oh, it's Cloud Drake. Who gives it down?
Oh, yeah, you know, we already have 3 Infernal Drakes, why bother? And we have Baron to boot. But yeah, let's just see. I'm actually interested in seeing whether or not Ascension Gaming could pull off anything as far as takes.
It's very difficult, because at this point, Naul is starting to fall off as a damage dealer, while G4 is continuing to scale as a pusher, as an attack, an offensive champion, seeing as he has Lich Bane. So he's dealing consistent damage, while while Naul is just starting to fall down.
On to Jisoo, though, but looks like
Jisoo,
yes, charge back away, though.
Wait, what?
Actually connect onto Venus.
What?
For some weird reason. How did that happen?
Wait, what? Well, it doesn't matter in the long run.
Yes.
As G4 has now pushed in into the last turret in the bot lane for Young Generation. That could potentially be tragic for Ascension.
Indeed. G4, though, getting a lot of damage there onto Ren, but does use Zhonya's to dodge the cocoon there.
I love this play from Ascension.
Great teleport coming in from Jisoo in order to take down this inhibitor with relative ease. That is going to be more pressure that Young Generation has to deal with.
Ascension's building a huge lead just from pushing.
Indeed, Big Koro trying to do what he can and get stunned, but that will prevent any further takes towards this top turret.
That was so dangerous.
Connecting onto Uni, but will be able to Glacial Assault his way out of there.
Man, that was confusing from the charge, but in the end, that charge bug actually does not matter in the end. Ascension still got what they wanted, and Jisoo actually lived through that ordeal.
It's nothing particularly game-changing for Ascension. I have to watch the replay for that. I'm kind of interested.
I think it was just a bug.
Yeah.
Or at least a visual one. Oh no, that was just straight up a bug.
Yeah, it was straight up a bug. Unless there's some sort of like trick there that we're not aware of.
I don't think so.
But, yeah.
But in the end, it doesn't matter. It's not game-changing. Not worth a remake.
Yeah, I mean, Ascension Gaming, regardless. I mean, they wouldn't really want to remake considering the substantial lead they have right now. But yeah, it's definitely. I gotta say though, regardless of Ascension Gaming getting that Baron, I was actually expecting potentially a lot more inhibitors to be taken down. But
valiant defense from YG.
Exactly. Good defense.
Steadfast and unrelenting. Ren gonna try and defend against Jisoo. I'm pretty sure Jisoo will win every single 1v1, but that might leave YG enough time to react in their mid lane. We'll see. So far, game has slowed down, but there's so much gold in Ascension's favor now. YG cannot take the same fights that they would have if they were even.
Yes, Jisoo trying to juke it out here with Ren. Actually has Guardian Angel now. So interesting. A lot core items already built up for Jisoo here. So that does make for a very good collide, whether it be in split pushing or even going down to team fights here. So we'll just have to see again pressure towards the spot side. Ren dealing with that super mini wave pushing in right now. Ascension
Closing in. I can feel the pressure just going to explode very, very soon.
Yes.
Something might be happening as G4 and the rest of Ascension close in on YG's turrets. They have to make something happen and make a play against Ascension.
Yes.
They have to be the ones with the initiative.
So much happening here, but we'll just have to see still. Ascension Gaming waiting for that wave, because this is the tricky part right here. Once those waves come in, you know, Young Generation has a fairly decent clear because of Big Kuro here.
So far, so good. Pushes out all across the map for Ascension, closing in slowly but surely on the structures of YG. They do not want that to happen. YG with their pressure on their backs.
It is taking forever for Ascension Gaming to get
Because they have a good wave clear across the
Indeed.
board. Pretty decent wave clear, not great. But here, still, it's because Lloyd and the rest of Ascension cannot be too overzealous in their push. They have to do it slow and steady. They have a sizable gold lead, stat lead as well. So they don't want to squander that by going in guns blazing.
Exactly, but still, regardless, as this goes,
That's a lot of damage.
Will G4 go in though? Actually, does decide to go in, but then again,
Full heal after that chrono break.
Yeah, very good. So Naol might be forced to just back away for the meantime, and this might be the window of opportunity that Ascension Gaming needs to potentially take down an inhibitor turret. But as this goes on, 50 seconds actually away from Baron, so that actually lays another option for Ascension Gaming if they decide to just pressure the lanes before transitioning to that juicy objective.
You do not want to just charge in and possibly lose when the Baron is almost up.
Indeed. So much is on the line for this game. Both sides taking it very, very, the word I'm looking for, safely.
Don't want to overcommit, don't want to misstep. Always want to go where there's vision, where your vision and territory are absolute.
It's just a waiting game at this point. Which side actually slips up first in this case?
Yeah, that's pretty much the deciding factor. Which team makes a misplay first, and which team is able to exploit it?
Because whoever gets that ace, those are going to be substantially
Not
high
even
death
an ace.
timers.
Maybe just 1 or 2 members going down is enough for the game to end.
True.
Ascension. Their key members here are Jisoo and Lloyd. As for YG, key members are Naul and Big Koro.
Damage is absolutely beautiful, and Big Karo.
Which could be an opportunity. YG not wanting to commit to that, seeing as their bot lane inhibitor, as it responds, being taken down by G4. Wow, look at all that damage.
Yes, split push happening right here along with Jisoo, as the rest of Ascension Gaming actually distracts with this Baron here. Is this going to be enough of distraction though? Jisoo and G4 as well pushing very, very hard.
They might be able to just finish off the game from here.
Young Generation might have to decide here, as Ren isn't clearly enough. Ladies and gentlemen, we may have a winner.
Ascension Gaming.
Wow, congratulations Ascension Gaming, who will be proceeding to go up against Gigabyte Marines.
Very sneaky.
Woo!
Mission accomplished for Ascension. They knew exactly what they were going for. I was actually afraid that that would happen because of the huge pushing potential G4 and Jisoo had. And that was just in a flash. And I think when they engaged onto the Baron, when they committed to the Baron fight, that was when YG realized, oh, we screwed up.
Oh snap. Starting it.
We got the win stolen away from us right under our noses.
And I gotta hand, that was beautifully played. Sneaky play.
I like
by
that
the
ending. Not explosive, but something like sneaky.
Yeah, sneaky. And there's no...
Poisonous.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that was absolutely all-striking right there. But ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm pretty sure the people of Thailand are rejoicing right
Yeah,
now. Home
definitely.
court, actually, as they are playing in Bangkok right now. So I'm pretty sure the crowd might be going wild right now, as their representatives are going to be going up against the winners Gigabyte Marines. So as seen
They have
in
a
the
much
bracket
larger
right here,
chance of going to the Worlds.
yes, of course, the winner between Gigabyte Marines and Ascension will be getting that first seed, while we're yet to determine between Young Generation and TME who will be fighting against the loser between that winner's bracket matchup in order to receive that second seed going into Worlds.
Definitely just a well-fought best of 5 by both YG and Ascension, and Ascension well-earned win. They got back from their slump in the first 3 games and just absolutely took it away.
Indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This concludes the first day of the knockout stage for the Garena Premier League 2017 summer season. Once again, this is Arctic, and of course, with me is Atlas. Hope you guys have a good night, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Choke point right here. G4 actually going to go
wow, Lloyd gets taken down.
But Lloyd actually gets taken down right away by Ren here. Warlock trying to run away from this right now, but here comes Jisoo quite full on health. Ren might have to be a little bit more careful.
So this is a 4v5 straight up for YG.
Right here. A lot of damage.
Lloyd.
Big Koro manages to take down Lloyd. Jisoo might be the next casualty. Does manage to take down
Courage.
Big Koro, but these are a lot of
Not enough.
casualties happening. Ren is now on a rampage. Nuni and Warlock trying to do what they can, but these are 2 tanks. What are 2 tanks against the damage dealers? But then again, looks like the chase does ensue here. Now Ul becomes the next casualty.
Dear.
This is going to be enough of distraction though. Jisoo and G4 as well pushing very, very hard.
They might
on
be able
this
to just finish off the
turret.
game from here.
Young Generation might have to decide here as Ren isn't clearly enough. Ladies and gentlemen, we may have a winner.
Ascension
Ladies,
Gaming.
wow. Congratulations, Ascension Gaming, who will be proceeding to go up against Gigabyte Marine.
Very